screen. The title of our talk today is When the Road Gets Rocky. And we have a special guest speaker coming to us from Colorado, Bridget McCain. And I cannot wait to hear what she shares with us today. We're so glad that you joined us. We invite you to get comfortable and relax in this moment as we officially kick off our service. Please of spiritual life. Represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. And the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expand our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. And so it is. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like to have included later in our service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. And before we move into our time of meditation, I would like to tell you just a little bit more about our guest speaker, Bridget McCain. Bridget is a practitioner at the Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. And she is just like their own practice, and she primarily focuses on family law and estate planning. She mostly collaborates with immigration attorneys for clients who have family law issues affecting their immigration status, and we know that is so desperately needed at this time in our country. And she's worked with clients from at least 18 different nations. Her ministry will include serving immigrants and refugees. She's an avid bicyclist, oh my goodness, bikist, and she enjoys hiking. And like I said, I have a feeling that she's going to work some of her hiking experiences into our talk today. So we welcome Bridget as she leads us into our meditation.
Thank you so much, Tamara. So I just invite each one of us to your awareness to that heart space. That space in each of us in which how can I speak unless you listen? How can you listen unless you become still? Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am peace. Be still and know that I am beauty. That I am your very breath. And be still and know that I am love. Be still. And know that I am God. As we breathe that in, the divines of peace, wisdom, beauty, and love, knowing that those qualities expressed through each person here today and each person that may watch and listen to this at a later time. God expressing through each one of us on this day. I bless our time together in gratitude. Knowing that it is good. It is. And now I believe Soul Pajamas are going to lead us in a song. Thank you.
This is a wonderful song by Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin. And when the road gets rocky, this is the place you really need to go. And you, yes, sing along. I hear the music, down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I hear the music,
I hear the music.
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I hear the music, down in my soul. I got a new day,
I got a new day.
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I got a new day,
Got a new day.
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I got a new day,
I got a new day.
down in my soul, where the whole wide world is my home. I love the silence,
I love the silence.
down in my soul,
In my soul. I love the silence.
down in my soul.
In my soul.
I love the silence, down in my soul, where the whole wide world is my home. I feel the power down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul. I feel power down in my soul. And the whole world is my
Thank you, Soul Pajamas. Gosh, it's like you knew exactly what I was talking about today. First, I'd just like to thank you, CSL Leesburg and Charlene, for inviting me to speak today. It's a great privilege. And before I get started, Tamara mentioned my hiking. I do a great deal of hiking in Colorado. I say my other church, but if I were being completely honest, I might say they're my first church. So all the photos on the slides I'll be using in this presentation are photos I took on my various Colorado hikes. So that's how I'm bringing in my hiking and my other church into the presentation today. It's Rocky. And it's a continuation on the theme for September of Reaching Higher. Charlene got us kicked off in early September with a talk by the same title, Reaching Higher. And then last week, she gave us a beautiful message on transcend and include. So today we're going to continue that theme of reaching higher with when the road gets rocky. Now, of course, we've all experienced rocky roads in many areas of our life, right? Health, career, finances, perhaps when we with political divisiveness that off the charts, it feels like sometimes racial inequality that just keeps persisting, and the pandemic, of course. These are all rocky roads that affect us. And when we get in these rocky roads, it's easy to feel various, what we might call negative emotions or feelings, or at least ones that weigh down on us, such as fear, pain, anger, resentment, guilt, hopelessness, apathy. And these are all feelings that can keep us on that rocky road. But what we want to do today is talk about when we're feeling like that, when we're on that rocky road, how can we reach higher? And what that means is reaching from a higher consciousness or addressing these situations from a higher consciousness. And you know, Christian Larson, an early New Thought teacher and author, wrote, when a person lives in faith, all things that come into her life are looked upon as opportunities. It is the difficult things we meet that enable us to bring into action the greater power that is within us. Difficulties, therefore, are the most valued of opportunities and can be met with joy. That's what we want to do today. Greet these rocks in the road. Simple, but what we feel kind of tossed about by life, kind of a rough sea. But reaching higher in this situation means finding that place of peace within, that God within. You know, and all the great faith traditions teach this concept of the God within. The Hindu scriptures teach about the Atman, which is the God self in each one of us. And Hinduism also teaches that all of creation is God expressing itself and coming back to itself through the human experience, through all of life, actually. And that our life, our human life, is remembering who we are, that God self, an expression of God. And then, of course, we have Islam, one of the great faith traditions of the world. And we learn from Muhammad. It is said that when you take one step towards him, he advances 10 steps towards you. But the complete truth is that God is always with you. You know, Islam also teaches God, this huge concept that to the human heart. Where to be found out there. That if we want the kingdom of God and the peace that comes with that, we have to look within. And so, of course, in our own science of mind, we have the idea that each of us is an individualized expression of the spirit. So when we're feeling tossed around by life, we can remember the story from the Gospels of Jesus, walk a slightly different spin on that story today. As the story goes, the disciples were in a boat. They're out at sea, it's at night, it's stormy, it's dark, high seas, wind, they're getting tossed around pretty good. And the disciples they're in fear. And Jesus wasn't with them at the beginning. He was up on a hill, communing with the divine. And I think he was probably giving thanks because this whole story takes place right after the miracle of feeding the multitudes. So as Jesus often did after something like that, he would spend time apart and he would just pray and give thanks. So he does that. So he's in this high consciousness, right? And he comes down the mountain and he sees his disciples in the boat. And as if the storm didn't even exist, he walked right across the water towards the boat. And the disciples are in kind of disbelief. They're like, is that really him? And Peter says, my Lord, if it is really you. Peter, instead of focusing on Jesus, he turns his attention back to the storm and he sinks. So what this story teaches us is that if we focus on the Christ consciousness within, if we focus on our God self, the peace within, we too can rise above the storm of life. When we focus on the problem, and so then when we're in this place of focusing on the Christ consciousness within and that peace within, another part of be calm and carry on is we can make really good decisions for our lives. Very often when we're on that rocky path, it's because we feel like there's a problem, and what should we do? How can we solve it? Well, we make our best decisions, each one of us, for our life when we find that answer within. Now, we can consult with others, we can bounce ideas off of others, but the best decision for each one of us is our decision from within. And it's important to remember at this time what the science mind teaches, right? That spirit is individualized in each one of us. That means a great American theologian and civil rights leader wrote, "There is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will all of your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else holds." So I just invite you, the next time you trail and you don't know what to do, just take that time to be still and go within and listen to your true guide, not somebody else's. Now, another way we can reach higher when the road gets rocky is to be grateful. And that might be tough to be grateful for all these challenges that come at us. But very often, the rocks in our path are gifts. They can be opportunities to grow, to learn, to heal, to evolve. And the difficult road is often the one that best serves us. I like to think of the salmon. When the salmon are spawning and going upstream, they don't take the slow water or the slack water, the easy water, because it doesn't get them where they need to go. They jump right into the difficult water, the rapids, They literally head first and they go up the rapids because it is the rapids, it is the rough water that gets them where they need. Very often in and sometimes it's not that pretty. Because I instantly started crying. I was at a meditation retreat, and as soon as that call came, I cried like crazy. I pretty much cried nonstop next 2 days, the rest of that retreat, because my instant reaction to it was, no way, I'm not doing that. That's too hard. I've had enough schooling. I don't want to go to school again. How am I going to have the time, the money, the energy? I kept saying no. So for the next couple months, though, of course, it didn't leave me, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. Is this a genuine calling or just a harebrained idea that I had? So I listened. And at some point, I remembered that salmon, and that it is the difficult waters that lead the salmon where it needs to go to fulfill its purpose. So then I decided to jump in. So I jumped right into this river, this turbulent river sometimes, of transforming myself into a minister. And I can tell you that the gifts have been incredible. There's been the practical gifts. I have time. I have the money. I most days have the energy, have tons of support. But what's really amazing is the greater gifts. Is remembering that brokenness is our growing edge. You know, Parker Palmer wrote, wholeness does not mean perfection. It means embracing brokenness as an integral part of life. Knowing this gives me hope that human wholeness, mine, yours, ours, need not be you can use devastation as a seedbed for new life. You know, these cracks that we experience are where the light gets in. The light of understanding, the light of peace, the light of forgiveness, closely related, the light of compassion. These are all seeds for a new life. So I just invite you to just take a moment and remember a time when you were broken open. You came through it, and later you realized you would have it no other way because of the great gift you received. Perhaps it's the divorce that opened you up to an even better partnership. Perhaps the loss of a job that led to you getting your dream job, or an entirely different career path that is more authentically you. Perhaps a health challenge that led to emotional we can reach higher when life gets difficult is serving others, and especially when the world's road is rocky. It's easy to feel hopeless or despair. But we need to remember that we are each God in action. Each one of is God in action. You know, it reminds me of the story of the woman sitting on the side of the road and having a pretty heated, angry and feeling despair. Like, how can you let this happen? There are children starving to death. There are children losing their parents. There's war. There are women and young girls in Afghanistan today who can't go to school. God, why don't you do something? And then she hears a voice. I did do something. I sent you. So when you feel that and you want to get angry with God for letting the world be this way, maybe that's your calling to step up and serve. Now, in the Quran, can teach us a lesson from this. The Sufi masters, Sufism is the mystical expression of Islam. And there were bundles of human sorrow at different times in human history. And we each had to select one. And as the story goes, or as the myth goes, the more noble souls picked the larger bundles so that others would be troubled only with smaller burdens. So when we perform beautiful acts of gratitude when we serve those who are suffering greatly. The world's road gets rocky. And if you have a small burden, set it down and pick up somebody's larger burden. Pick up their rock. So when the road gets rocky, remember the 3 ways to reach higher. We can be calm and carry on. We can be grateful for that growing edge along the road. And we can serve others encountering even larger rocks in their road. We do all of this, we're reaching higher. Let us move into prayer. In this moment, grounded my feet on the Mother Earth. All of it is just that one life. As our Hindu brothers and sisters teach us, it's all God knowing itself. And for that, I am so grateful. And I know also that that means each one of us here today and each person listening to this message later is a part of that piece of the night sky is in all of us. That beauty of the high mountains, of the forest, is in each one of us. The wisdom of a power so great that it knows how to create a new galaxy in this very moment as I speak. That wisdom is in all of us. all the wisdom we need. And I know that everything we need to face that rocky road, whether it be in our life or in the collective human life, everything we need is provided to us, is within us, and seeks to express through us. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing when each of us listens to that call and contributes our unique part. Together, I know we can walk this rocky road together. There's no boulder too large. And so it is.
Boy, among the many wonderful things we just heard, I really love the Howard Thurman quote about unearthing the genuine. I think that's wonderful. And ironically, or not, actually, synchronistically, are we unmuted? We're good?
We're good.
Okay. Because that's not what we're seeing. Anyway, this song was written by Dan and Jan Garrett, again, and it's exactly about unearthing the genuine. I got a story I hope will hit you right between the eyes about the night I first encountered a genius in disguise. You know how I can be a little blind. In my seat at the end of the concert, the maestro has just left the stage. In the back of the hall, there's a terrible ruckus, and security gives way. This homeless guy, all tatters and terrors, breaks through the guard on the left. He rushes the stage like a demon possessed, and the audience holds its breath. Right in like he owned the joint, flipped his tails as he sat down to play. And out of that piano came a rhapsody I still remember today. Well, bless my soul and shut my mouth. Imagine my surprise. He was a bona fide virtuoso, a genius in disguise. Moonlight sonata, a breakfast frittata, a masterpiece every day. So I rest my case, drop the charges, set my spirit free, and send an invitation to all of humanity. I say, we in me and you. Creative collaboration, collective improvisation. We're all geniuses in disguise. Genius in disguise.
The donations that are shared with our center bless those who give and those who receive. There are so many ways for you to show your support. You can look on the screen and find the way that best suits you. And if you'd like to, you can also go to our CSL website and you can click the donate button. We thank you so much for your support. No matter how you are giving today, please take that gift, either physically or mentally, and just place it over your heart and join us in our affirmation of oneness. In me, blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. And we have some announcements. Hey, there's a familiar face. I'm going to be teaching a class on 5 Saturdays throughout the month of October. It's called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. So please consider joining us on Saturdays. I think you'll really enjoy the messages and the insight that you will receive. Also, if you like what you heard here today, we have some other events that are coming up throughout the week. We have our dream study, which meets on Tuesday mornings with Charlene. And then we have our prayer and visioning sessions that is midweek on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So please consider coming back and joining us. You don't have to wait till next Sunday. Now, as we end our sacred time together, please place your hands over your heart one more time and join me in saying, I am love. Now, make eye contact with somebody who's close to you. Could be a pet, could be somebody in the room with you, or somebody on the screen. And just remember that everyone around you are love. And then put your hands up in the air, something that we call love sprinkles, and join us as we say, it's all love. We thank you so much for joining us today. If you can stay with us, please stay, and we will share our pearls, those little nuggets of wisdom that we got from today's service. I've got 3 noted that I can't wait to share. And if you cannot stay, then we just wish you a blessed day. And we thank you so much for joining us today. And a special shout out of thanks to Bridget McCann. We thank you so much for your words of wisdom.